新ロブジラ
As I said last time, Titanic Creations provided me with a copy of their Yongary figure plus everything else. I was provided with a product, not an opinion to share. This is all 100% lean beef patty. God, I wish. Shinrobjira. So with that being said, let's take a look at the toy. Look at this lanky looking lizard. He's really a complete package deal, I do say. I mean, even from this angle, you can see details, you can see paint, you can see obvious joints for articulation. But let's take a closer look at things. I'm really digging the leathery look of Yongary in figure format. Oh yeah, Gare Bear, he is absolutely not short on things to marvel at. I mean, just look at these dorsal thingamabobs. I don't know, somebody will correct me. Between the differing colors on display and the amount of details present on all of them, even the tiny unpainted ones, I mean, that's just heckin' impressive. And it'll be like that from his pointy head. Ow. Moving down through his neck, through his back, all the way to his ass. Yeah, believe it or not, all of these things are going to have details on them, and I really do like the paint application on them as well. There's like this strange mixture of brown and copper, which is kind of the same thing, but also not at the exact same time. From the tip of his tail to even the underside of his tail. Titanic Creations, what exactly are you trying to say here? They're trying to start an apolitical war with that of Bandai. Underside of tail paint exists. Well, okay, maybe not for every kaiju ever, but it's nice that it's there. I mean, even if it wasn't, the detail down here is still quite admirable. I mean, jeez. He won't have details on the underside. Well, that's a lie. He's got detail right there. Okay, he won't have as much detail on the other side of his feet, say for the Titanic Creations stamp, and that one S that you would draw the 6 lines for and make in your notepad in friggin' high school. Or grade school. I don't mean to be ageist. Flip them soles over to the top side and booyah. Toes are not separate. It kind of looks like a mutant waffle cake. But the details and the simply painted toes really do make up for that. And for all I know, it's accurate to the suit. I wouldn't know. I have not seen Yongary yet. Moving up from there, we will see some black paint skittered about over here. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but it's there and it looks nice. And just loads and loads of more fantastic detailings that's gonna move into the arms, it's gonna move into the hands. I do like that the hands seem... Well, I was going to say they looked webbed, but I'm not sure if they actually are, but they're nice and sharp. And look at the detailing on his palms and fingers too. Grows wrinklier than a nutsack in the dead of winter. And then we have the underbelly paint that's going to move throughout the crotch to the chest. Look at him. He's praising the Lord on a Sunday. And I like it. Look at its curvature, Phil. It's so nice. Really, really nice. And I love the choice of colors here. It's bright, but it's not ridiculously obvious. And then we must move to the head. And just look at those eyes. They're so big and friendly. Like if this guy was selling me a package of frozen chicken nuggets, I'd buy it off of him. That is the face of a very trustworthy guy. Big, yellow, brown, a little bit of black, a little bit of white. Very nicely done. And since his head is built the way it is, you can't really tell if the eyes are crooked or not, but for the most part, they look pretty on point. What a horny little guy. And seriously though, the detailing. Dope Pope? Did Dope Pope do this? I'm pretty sure they did. If they didn't, whoever did it, name here, Future Rob, and great fucking work. So now we must orally venture on. Look at that jaw. It's so thin. It's like a slice of flatbread pizza from D'Annunzio's. If you know, you know. And for the most part, the inside of Yongary's mouth is going to be outfitted with 2 colors. Orange and fleshy reddish. Hey, look at that. We're going to get some details on the roof of the mouth, including his little flamethrower spout thing. And down here, I imagine the orange was supposed to represent his giant fuck-off tongue. But, you know, since you had something in there that's gonna have to hold the effect piece in place, you just had to go a little bit extra and give him a hole back there, too. And then the teeth. I think the teeth are done rather friggin' well. And to be fair, Yongary doesn't really have many a teeth. But what he does have and is shown off here is rather exemplary. So ultimately, when it comes to paint and detail, Yongary is an absolute dream. But are there any downsides? Just one. Of the eye fucking variety. So not so young Gary is going to have these joints over here, and as you can see, they do peel sometimes, especially whenever in movement. He's going to have them at the ankles, and he's going to have them at his wrists over here. Now, this is sole definition nitpick. I really don't give a shit. Real quick, and I do so apologize for leaving this out of the Pulgasari video, but this is something the classic version of Pulgasari suffered from as well. I didn't intentionally leave this detail out. It just really doesn't bother me so to a point where I, like, made it a point to discuss. I just wanted to cover all my bases and let y'all know it's not just happening with Yongary. So other than that, I would call this lovely gentleman a lovingly painted and beautifully detailed up piece that even if you barely know the character, barely know the movie, barely know his origin story, he's totally worth having. Now, without further ado, I gotta go drop y'all off at your biological mother's house, and by the time all of y'all return, I'll be married to a strange woman that you're going to have to call your stepmother. Young Gertrude over here is going to be standing over 6 inches tall, nearly at 7, a good size for a growing lizard chicken nugget spokesman boy. Shokugan, modern movie, OG movie, modern yet slightly outdated movie, OG movie, limited premium king, action figure series, HG, Red Scare Pulgasari, comic book version Gorgo, finger puppets. Welcome back, kids. Here's your stepmother Gruntilda. So if you know anything about Titanic Creations and their Yongary release, you know that this guy comes more stacked than a Jav model circa 2003. First we have the hornbeam accessory, and it's not gonna focus because it's so friggin' tiny. There we go. We've got a nice soft material for the beam so it doesn't snap off, and we've got this little, like, explosion thingy at the very tip of the beam, and I love that because I feel like I can hear it. It kind of sounds like just firing off that thin little beam. Looks really cool, really nice. There's the horn. It's gonna look around the same as the normal horn. Yeah, I would recommend putting this or the other horn in your little sit-go gas tanks in here. Definitely used to hold some of the smaller pieces in. And then up next, we've got the proper beam effect. It is going to be a translucent yellow with bits of red and maybe even a deeper orange added on there just to simulate fire. And basically, you're just going to open up his flatbread mouth, locate the shaped out orifice at the back of his throat. You'll find that the shapes match up. And you just give him the good old tonsil cleaning and boom, look at that. He's firing stuff out. Now when it comes to the horn, gently remove it, and then do the obvious. Boom. My guy is outfitted for destruction. And not for nothing, I think this makes Yongary look really, really cool. He's got 2 forms of destruction, his mouth and his nasal passages. And that's pretty much it when it comes to accessories exclusively for that of Yongary's character and silhouette, as everything else is like the perfect melted cheese seasoning on the perfect meatball parmesan dinner plate. Let's take a quick yet thorough look at everything, yeah? Up first, we've got these round cylindrical things that I do believe are gas or oil oriented. I'm sure future Rob will correct me in the edit. They're rather sparse on details, but in real life, they're pretty much just like that. The only major paint being its overall silver disposition and these red diamonds. The tops can be taken off. You can keep some accessories in there or other paraphernalia, and the top of them kind of look like titty tassels. And yes, these diamonds on the back and or front will be higher up, whereas on the other side, they will be lowered down. Up next, we have this 5-piece collapsible bridge set. I know bridges usually aren't set up like this. I just wanted to show off the minimalist details on these parts. And, you know, just set it up for the collapsation. The details on the bridges themselves, while minimal, are rather nice. And if you look at them from this angle, or even between these bars, you can actually see a railroad and a street. And it's really nice because these technically aren't like all attached over here. So this thing could see a bit of a fall and probably not break in this general area. The other piece looking equally as fantastic, although the railroad details is on the wrong side of the street, I think. Something like this happened in a neighboring town from where I grew up in, and it just kind of makes me nostalgic, so points! And then all 3 of these pieces are essentially going to look the same. They're going to have that rather brickish detail to them. They look nice. They're nice and simple. I originally thought this was like a magnet, but it's not. It's just capped off that way. And then, of course, we get our first round of vehicles. 3 tanks. They all look entirely the same. Everything on the top and sides and back, nothing on the bottom. Honestly, nothing to really be upset about, especially since they are articulated at the tops over here, and they all do look really fantastic for something so small. I mean, come on, look at it. This is small. And then we've got the ornate building piece that I don't know the name of, and is a solid piece. No damages going on here. I think it's rather beautifully done, intricately detailed, and painted. And if they were going to release a building that's in a solid piece and can't be destroyed, I'm glad it's this one because it just looks pretty. Nothing going on the back over here, and the front lawn does kind of look like Nickelodeon slime. Everything else, though, is really nice. And then the final round of accessories is actually going to be a bunch all in one. You get this street-inspired stand, 4 bendy wires that will hold up 4 separate vehicles. 3 jets, which just like the tanks are going to be outfitted in the exact same amount of paint and detailings, and I think they look really fantastic. And 1 helicopter, which isn't as detailed as the rest of the accessories we get, but helicopters, they're usually really intricate looking, and you can see the makings of some windows and other things in there, so I'm not going to be too hard on this, and just the fact that this is probably not the greatest looking accessory out of the bunch is, I mean, I think that's highly commendable. Plus, you know, it's so tiny, if I go this far away, okay, I'm gonna eat my own words there. All of this, when paired together, simply just makes for one of the best packed-in displays to come with a fully articulated figure I think I've ever friggin' seen. So now that that's all done, let's get this guy off his, oh god, accessory-based stand and get him into posing. That flatbread pizza jaw is going to be able to open and close. We're going to get a ball joint at this head. Do be careful when ball jointing because you might hurt your fingers on all this edge. Can look up about that far, can look down, really not all that far at all. Can look from side to side. I imagine he can make a full rotation, but whenever I try, it gives more than enough resistance the fall of man part 2 for me to really want to keep pushing. The neck, however, kinda does the same thing. I mean, I think I can get some decent movement out of the neck, but when it comes to making a full rotation, it just makes me nervous. It can look down, kind of, and it can look up, kind of. And as far as the torso goes, you can do... You will get some rockage over here, some ball jointiness, but it's not really going to be anything too crazy. There will be some swivelability over here, but again, I don't want to break it. I really don't. Okay, so when it comes to the arms, they will be able to openly rotate all the way around. And since Yongary is a man of the Lord, aka the chicken nugget industry, he can move his arms up and out, asking for a big ol' hug. Look at that. He's practically T-posing. From here, I can showcase that we will be able to swivel at the elbow, bend in and out rather nicely, hell yes. We will also get a swivel at the hand, and depending on how the joint lies, it can move up or down, or side to side. Wow, that's actually moving pretty well. Nice. At the hips, the legs can move out, that kind of far-ish. They can rotate all the way around comfortably. They can bend at the knee as well as swivel. Feet will be able to point up and then back down, and dependent on how the joint lies, they will also, come on, yep, there we go, be able to pivot, even though the legs really can't go out that far. And now, the tail. Much more articulated than that of Gorgo. Much more articulated than that of Pulgazari. Are there any issues? Well, we do get a ball joint in each segment, which will aid in up and down movements like so. You'll be able to curve from side to side, and it is essentially going to be like that at nearly every single segment, aiding in a rather nice curve. Well, it's staying on. Yeah, from what I could gander, Yongary had an issue around here when it came to his tail actually staying on. And as you can see, mine droops just ever so little. And my copy did have that issue, but I did end up doing just a little bit of surgery, and I stiffened up that ball joint and that hole. And now the friction is good enough for it to actually stay on when I shake it, or even when I just pose it. I mean, I have to, like, intentionally intentionally be a dick about it for this tail to pop off at this particular segment right here. Yes, it does droop a little bit, but I'm not exactly broken up about it. I was honestly a bit more broken up about it when the tail wouldn't stay on. And now it does. The curves are nice, especially for a nice S curve down like that. Just, you can't fully straighten the tail out, which is fine because a natural curve is better than going full horizontal. And I especially like and dig that I can get this tail to stay on and curve rather nicely, making Titanic Creations Yongary in his completed format an absolutely fun time. No alcohol required. We'll remember it after T- today. So now we gotta do the other thing. So like I said with Gorgo when it comes to articulation, Yongary is going to be sporting a bit of the same. Longer tail, maybe a little bit less movement in the neck. But since I got the original release of Yongary and the comic book version of Gorgo, I was able to experience that more fun, posable playability, which still isn't a word, that many people got to experience with the original release of Gorgo. Buildings, vehicles attached to bendy wires attached to a stand, buildings even from the Pulgazari set. I feel like this is such a critical friggin' value, and the fact that it's currently on sale on Titanic Creations just makes it better. Yes, the figure might not be SH Monster Arts, it might be more comparable to that of a Haya, but everything that comes with it just ups its value even more to me, because the fun, the shelf presence, everything. The fact that this is all packed in together is friggin' nuts. Get it while you can. And now we're done. Once again, I have to send out a loving thank you to that of Mac of Titanic Creations for sending me all 3 of these figures. Thank you so much for your kindness, fam, and thank you so much for helping me grow my collection a bit. You know, it's already hard enough bitching and moaning about obscure forms or Godzilla monsters getting put into the movie monster series, but something like Pulgazari and Yongary to such an extent is just really nice to see, and I hope you can continue your work bringing Yongary, Pulgazari, and Gorgo to the masses, alongside your own personal creations. So that being said, I have been ShinRobJira. Check out my social media. And remember, if you want this guy, limited quantities available at Titanic Creation. Use ShinRob at checkout to get $10 off. And when next we meet, I have no idea. Bye.